Welcome in the Quest Number 9 podcast. My name is Seth Warner, and on this podcast, we talk about Kentucky basketball from a fan's perspective. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about Kentucky's bounce back win versus Loyola Maryland, where Kentucky won in dominant fashion, 88-46, in a game where Kentucky was able to really control the pace of the game all the way through, coming off that bounce back game versus Michigan State that I never got a chance to talk about. But I'll give just some overall takeaways on this episode, but mostly focusing on the bounce back performance for the Wildcats against Loyola Maryland. And talking a little bit about that Michigan State game, Kentucky struggled rebounding, just overall offensive ability, no second chance points. Michigan State was really able to eliminate that. Kentucky did not shoot the ball well. Michigan State did. Some of their guys that don't usually shoot it well, they did. Kentucky, some of their guys that don't usually make them didn't make theirs. So a little bit of that action. Kentucky defensively, this is kind of where I come from. I look at like the different possessions and how those possessions go, and that's kind of how I break down the game. Kentucky had as many horrible possessions as they did really good possessions. So, and they had a lot of okay possessions where Kentucky would contain the ball, just give up a shot late or give up a second chance point, or Michigan State would just hit a great shot, similar to into the half that Kentucky gave up, where it was a tough fadeaway on the baseline, where Kentucky really just wasn't able to close out either halves. First 7 minutes was really strong from the Cats, having a 3-point lead, and really was able to control the pace early on. And Michigan State was really able to turn it up for that next big section and really put the game away for them, where Kentucky really was not able to claw back under double digits. And some of my stuff with Kentucky's offense, I thought they did better in this Loyola Maryland game. I thought we ran way too many middle ball screens, especially for Otega-Oweh. I don't think that should be in his diet of plays and possessions. I think Aberdeen should have some, but it should be limited, especially when Jalen Lowe's on the team. That's going to be mainly, I think, his shot diet or shot creating is off the pick and roll or off the high dribble handoff. I think that's why Kentucky ran it so much, as we suspected Jalen Lowe was going to be running a lot of those. But in this Loyola Maryland game, I thought Kentucky ran a lot more zoom action, getting guys off cuts. I think that's what Kentucky really hasn't done a whole lot of this year, outside of early on in that Michigan State game, is be able to score off cuts and getting to the basket and playing off of off-ball movement and just being able to spread the floor and screen away and cutting and making the defense think and really being able to stretch them out in multiple different ways while elevating the big and allowing them to show off some of their passing ability, because Brandon Garrison's a very good passer. Malachi Moreno is a very good passer. I thought we had a couple good sets in that Michigan State game where it was kind of a ghost screen on the wing for Otega-Oweh. That's one of the pick and rolls that I'm kind of good with. It came on his left side. And allowed him to deny and get to the baseline and get to his right hand while still allowing him to get to a straight line drive with that screen. If they ice it, usually they'll ice those and try to force them away. So that allows him to get to the baseline and use his right hand and be a downhill driver. He just missed a couple of those shots that we really need him to make. And I thought Kentucky's shot diet was better in this game when it came to getting shots off of our zoom action. We at least tried some of that. We had a couple made shots off of it, and we had several really good cutting sets where we would screen across, double screen. We'd really move everything around and really take away any of Loyola Maryland's chance to really pressure up on Kentucky Kentucky and burn some of their really aggressive early on defense, and Kentucky was able to control the pace from the beginning to end. It wasn't the biggest lead early on, but Kentucky was really able to control the pace of this game. Ended up having a 42-point victory while only giving up 46 points. Another big takeaway for me was Kentucky didn't allow a single player on this Loyola Maryland team to hit double figures, with their highest score being 7 points, while Kentucky having a very balanced effort and having a little bit of a different starting lineup with Malachi Moreno, Colin Chandler, Denzel Aberdeen, and Cam Williams being the 5, where Kentucky was able to really have a balanced effort. Like I said, Malachi had 10, Colin had 13, Ortega had 11, Denzel had 11, and Cam Williams had 13. And they were all really efficient, other than Cam Williams really from 3 and Ortega from 3. And Colin Chandler was really able to keep up his hot shooting performances from beyond the arc, shooting 3 for 6 from 3, and really being one of Kentucky's best shooter, really at the moment, knocking down tough, deep shots, couple steps behind the three-point line, and really just being one of Kentucky's most dynamic off-ball shooters and shooters just with the ball in his hands. And with several other guys stepping up in the lineup, that meant Brandon Garrison didn't end up starting. He played 20 minutes, had 6 points, was 3 for 7 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, had 11 rebounds. I think kind of a response game, had 1 assist, 2 turnovers. But in that Michigan State game, he did really good with his turnovers, had 2 turnovers, no assist, had 2 assists, 0 turnovers. So it was a really strong performance. And from that perspective, was really strong rebounding in this game. And especially early on, before we get JQ, we need quite a bit out of Malachi and Brandon Garrison as that time keeps on getting shorter and shorter before he comes back in the next couple of weeks. But overall, I thought Kentucky had a very balanced effort. Jasper Johnson came in and knocked down a couple shots, get him a little bit more accustomed to the rhythm of the game. Yelovich made his first 3 of his Kentucky career in just 12 minutes, had 9 points, 4 for 7 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3 with 4 boards. I think he's a guy that's going to start eating up more and more minutes as he gets more comfortable in the American game and in Coach Pope's system. Diabate was also out in this game, so Cam Williams filled his spot where he had an ankle injury in the Michigan State game, so he ended up playing. But Cam Williams, other than his three-point efficiency, was really, really, really good in this game. He had 13 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, really active hands, no turnovers, 3 steals, and it was overall just one of Kentucky's best players on the floor and really showed off his full game with his just sneaky physicality as a guy at 6'8", 6'9". You wouldn't expect to be a real big rebounding guy with kind of a skinnier frame, but he was able to do a really good job on the boards, controlling the pace of the game and allowing Kentucky to really break open this lead in the middle first half, where Kentucky went from having like a 13 lead to 25 and was really just able to run away from it after that. Kentucky's assist numbers were up in this game, a lot better compared to even past non-power games, had 21 assists with 9 turnovers. That's about where I would like it. We would like that 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio as a team. That's kind of where Kentucky was last year as a team. I would like to see Kentucky keep on stacking performances like that with single-digit turnovers, and Kentucky really be able to share the ball as a team that's going to really want to push the pace, play make. Jasper Johnson had 5 assists. Denzel Aberdeen had 6 assists. Would like to see a little bit more playmaking from the bigs. Garrison only had 1 assist. And Malachi only 2. I would like to see those guys more at 3 to 4 a game each to really show off some of that zoom action and playmaking from the top of the key. Cam Williams really brought some of that playmaking, having 4 assists. But overall, Kentucky, like I said, had a really balanced effort, rebounded the ball well, having 56 rebounds. That Michigan State game was the first time Kentucky had lost a rebounding battle this season. And I thought Kentucky just responded with some physicality and understood what they needed to do as a team, and just being able to stack good performances and confidence for some of these key guys that we'll need in the rotation, like Andre Yelovich, Cam Williams, Brandon Garrison. Trent Noah got a little bit of time playing 16 minutes, having 6 points, was pretty solid, had 4 boards and an assist. But overall, there wasn't one guy that just had a crazy performance. Cam Williams was probably overall the strongest performance in this game when it came to filling up the stat sheet, but no one offensively blew you off the table. And that's what you kind of like to see with Kentucky, probably without their best playmaker and their best offensive creator on the ball in Jalen Lowe. We'll see what his status ends up being. Coach Pope talked about it in his last press conference. He said Jalen Lowe is going to take another try at it. His mobility is good right now, but he's trying to recover strength. Right now, kind of the reports are if he pops it again, he'll have to have season-ending shoulder surgery. So they're trying to maximize the chances of that happening. Again, they're trying to lessen it, getting treatment and trying to lessen the chances as much as I can going into this long season that Kentucky has, potentially getting back 2 guys that would definitely start in Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quains. And 2 guys, kind of my thought on the Michigan State game, 2 guys that probably masked a lot of their issues on both ends. But I think that is one good thing. These kind of came out and showed themselves a little bit earlier. I thought the spacing stuff would still be kind of there with Jalen Lowe, but with his ability to really handle the ball, be elite in pick and rolls, and like he showed in that Louisville game, be able to knock the 3 ball down. And Jaden Quaintance with his elite rim protection and just overall defensive versatility, he could help eliminate some of those little attacks to the rim and just make everything harder for the opposing team with his length, size, and overall just versatility at 6'10", 6'11", 250 pounds with really, really elite movement skills for a guy who could potentially be a top 5 to 10 pick, somewhere around in there, coming into the year, in a really, really loaded freshman class with a guy that's coming in that's going to be really young, and I think will help elevate Kentucky's defense, especially, like I said, at the rim. With his length, he gives us a different rim protection than I think Malachi or Brandon does. It's more consistent. His timing is probably better than Malachi's, the closest thing, but with that 7'5" wingspan, his reach, and he just jumps off the floor so quickly, and his timing is so good. Kentucky will really be glad to have him in the next coming weeks. Kind of my hope for him to come back is like mid-December, or probably the NC Central game, December 9th, is probably where I'm like, okay, that's probably a pretty good spot. But we'll just have to see as we get closer and closer, and Kentucky gets their next real test coming up in about a week and a half when Kentucky hosts North Carolina in the SEC ACC Challenge. And we'll see if Kentucky will be able to get their first marquee win of the season and really get back on track after a couple tough losses to good opponents. And that's all from the Quest Number 9 podcast. My name is Seth Warner, and if you like this content, please like and subscribe. And to stay up to date to all of my new episodes and everything I put out, go follow me at Quest Number 9 on Instagram and Twitter, aka X, and I will see you next time.